Epictetus, the slave philosopher. If Marcus Aurelius is the king, Epictetus is the prophet. Marcus Aurelius was the practitioner, Epictetus was the teacher. In fact, Marcus Aurelius quotes Epictetus constantly. The emperor considered himself a student of the slave. Epictetus is the most direct, practical, and uncompromising of all the Stoics. He stripped the philosophy down to its bare metal: mental freedom. Here is the deep dive into the man whose name simply meant acquired. 1. The origin. The lame slave. Epictetus, circa 50 to 135 AD, was born a slave in Hierapolis, modern-day Turkey. We don't even know his real name. Epictetus is Greek for acquired or property. He served in the court of Nero, but as a slave to a cruel master named Epaphroditus. The leg legend. The most famous story about him involves his leg. His master was torturing him by twisting his leg in a vice. Epictetus calmly warned him, "If you keep twisting, you will break it." The master kept twisting. Snap. The leg broke. Epictetus didn't scream or cry. He looked at his master and simply said, "Did I not tell you that you would break it?" Whether this story is 100% fact or legend, it illustrates his entire philosophy. The body is property, even a master can break it, but the will is free. 2. The works. He didn't write a word like Socrates. Epictetus wrote nothing. He opened a school in Nicopolis, Greece, after being banished from Rome. He lectured to students, shouting at them, questioning them, and challenging them. A student named Arian sat in the audience and took verbatim notes. These notes became the 2 books we have today. The Discourses. Long, rambling, fiery lectures where we hear his actual voice. The Enchiridion, the Handbook, a tiny, condensed manual of his best one-liners. This was the carry-on guide for soldiers. 3. The Magnum Opus. The Dichotomy of Control. Epictetus is the father of the most famous concept in Stoicism. He opens the Enchiridion with this rule: some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions. The equation. If you try to control what is not yours, the weather, your boss, your health, you will be a slave. If you focus only on what is yours, your opinion, your reaction, you will be free. He taught that every situation has 2 handles. One handle is weak, blaming others, and one handle is strong, accepting responsibility. You choose which handle to grab. 4. The metaphor. The actor in the play. Epictetus loved the theatre metaphor. He argued that God/fate is the playwright, and you are just an actor. If the playwright casts you as a beggar, act the part of a beggar well. If he casts you as a king, act the part of a king well. If he casts you as a cripple, act the part of a cripple well. The wisdom. It is not your job to choose the role. It is your job to perform it with excellence. Most people are miserable because they are played as a beggar, but they are trying to ad-lib lines for a king. Epictetus says, stick to the script. 5. The teaching style. The hospital. Epictetus was not a gentle guru. He was a drill sergeant. He famously told his students, "The lecture room of the philosopher is a hospital. You ought not to walk out of it in pleasure, but in pain." He believed that if you came to him, you were sick with false beliefs. His job was to perform surgery on your mind. He mocked students who wanted to show off their logic skills. He scolded students who missed home. Are you a child? He didn't care about academic theory. He cared about how you lived. 6. The open door policy. Epictetus was very clear about the ultimate freedom: suicide. He didn't encourage it, but he used it as a psychological backstop. He told his students that life is like a dinner party. As long as it is fun, stay. If the room gets too smoky, too much suffering, the door is always open. You can leave. Why this is empowering? Since you could leave at any time, the fact that you are staying means you are choosing to stay. Therefore, stop complaining about the smoke. You are a volunteer, not a prisoner. 7. The legacy. Stockdale. To show how practical Epictetus is, look at James Stockdale, a US fighter pilot shot down in Vietnam. He spent 7 years in the Hanoi Hilton torture camp. When he ejected from his plane, he whispered to himself, "I am leaving the world of technology and entering the world of Epictetus." Stockdale survived 7 years of torture by using the dichotomy of control. Captors could control his body, his food, and his isolation. Stockdale could control his dignity and his refusal to give up secrets. Epictetus isn't just theory. He is the survival manual for hell on earth. Next step. We have the emperor, Marcus, and the slave, Epictetus. The final piece of the Roman puzzle is the most controversial one: Seneca. The billionaire, the politician, the hypocrite, and the brilliant writer. Are you ready to meet the man who taught us how to manage time and anger?